The Kai'Sa.
Yeah, have to ban the Yone still, so you're kind of just giving over the Nocturne. Or do you have to?
Well,
a lot
that's
of teams,
the question.
A lot of teams have asked that question at Worlds, and the answer keeps on being yeah.
I feel like Yone gets banned a few games, and you're like, but what if we let it through?
What if in an elimination game?
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
We're not doing it.
Okay.
Well, the Jax is going to get all of the priority here. We'll be locked in first up. Does mean UmTi can go back to that Nocturne. Nocturne, Neeko, if they just lock them in again, it would make a lot of sense to me. But without the Kai'Sa, maybe it lacks a little bit of that extra oomph. And, you know, not being able to guarantee the first 2 kills of the game at level, like at, you know, minute 1 and 2, perhaps, is a little dangerous. But still, Nocturne a great consideration, at least as a pick away as well from Levi. Ksante for impact. That's the theoretical thought of as perhaps a counter to Jax that we haven't really seen do that all that much.
Yeah, I think we've seen it both ways, where it feels like the Ksante is not going to have prio in lane, but he does become an immovable brick wall, and obviously the
Do they want to
utility is
steal
big.
Ori now? Or, because Emo's Orianna...
They have to, right? Just lock it in again.
Oh my, okay,
They
that's
do not.
Akali.
They do not.
They do not have to,
that's
nor do they want to.
That's blind Akali.
Blind Akali is an interesting option that you can go for there. I did feel like, you know, with the circle vibe that they were going for, with the fact that, you know, Emo has looked great on the Orianna, it felt like a no-brainer, but I mean, I like the confidence. Just slam it in as, okay, Neeko going to be picked up as well. That 1-2 punch of the Neeko Nocturne is very scary. And so I think GAM, a lot of what they were thinking between games as well is draft didn't actually play that much of a part.
It was the
why
level
we
1.
lost that game, because the level 1 and then the follow-up play definitely what put them in the ground. And so going for something slightly different and letting TL have pretty much the same thing outside of the Kai'Sa.
What I'm always wondering with picks like this, though, is could you not have done this on a second rotation? Because I don't think TL were necessarily going to be looking to ban it out.
Yeah.
And maybe have already seen what you were going to pick. Does make the mid jungle really lethal post level 6 when you have all that burst and CC and setup available.
Especially because, you know, APA already is coming off a good Neeko game and wants to play a large AoE. If you're going to draft all melee into a large AoE here, that could make things difficult. GAM showing so early on in the draft that it's double melee solo laners. We'll see if it's problematic. You know, Akali, of course, is very mobile for a melee champion, so can work around some angles. But with Akali, you know, not being that strong pre-6 and Wukong also not being a strong pre-6 jungle, it does feel like they're kind of giving them time.
The bot lane pool is really getting pinched here. So TL actually banning the Xayah away themselves. I do think Xayah is better on the GAM side than is on the TL side. I think with champions like Akali and Wukong or Jax, once they're on top of you, like I don't think the Xayah ult does that much. As we're not going to get baited in by anything.
I kind of like the Samira angle.
A ton of frontline. This is a blind pick. I think the Ashe makes the most sense. This is something that we have obviously already seen. Would be a lot of Faith being played. As it's probably going to be Ashe. Ezreal, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
It just slots into any composition.
Well, yeah,
and
you're seeing all this melee and coming straight for you, so good to have another disengage, especially with the cover of darkness.
Yep, the Jhin being a consideration here for EasyLove. Pretty hard to follow up on Wukong, Jax, and Akali that can just launch themselves into a fight. So something that can stay in range, certainly a decent idea there. As still considering it, as we're still having a giggle as well.
That's what I figured, right? Like,
yeah, no, I don't think the vibes took
two,
much of a hit. And GAM pretty good at vibes, let's be honest. As there is the Jhin lock-in. Elio, let's see where he's going to go. Could be his first game off Braum this series as well, which I do like. I think that when a support is put on Braum duty, it should be only 2 games in a row. Otherwise, you can get like Braumitis, which is just, it really does affect your self-esteem.
It's a terrible sickness.
Yeah, it's an affliction. I remember my friend Ejim really did suffer from that one. Is Poppy going to be the lock-in instead? Okay, replaces the door with a hammer, and it's CoreJJ that picks up that door. See whether he does actually lock this one in. Certainly a few other options that could be available here.
So you are playing Braum into melees, which I think you're generally going to be happy with. It gives you a lot of early game power. It does make your comp, I think, pretty awkward. I like this a lot more.
Yeah.
Obviously, your laning is going to take a hit, and trying to play Rakan into Poppy is much easier said than done, which is why I'm looking over at Kobe. He's not looking too happy about it.
Oh,
Felt like
I'm
it-
good. I'm feeling good.
It felt like to me the Braum would really. I don't know how much utility it would reliably provide, because I also think that the type of melee champions that GAM have are able to evade, you know, like the kind of linearity of a Braum shield relatively easy. And the follow-up of that, Rakan with the Nocturne and Neeko quite strong.
I mean, it's truly philosophical, because do you want to add more tools to your Nocturne Neeko engage, which I actually do feel very comfortable with.
I think they should.
Team Liquid have really relied on CoreJJ's engage. So if you're putting him on the Braum, then you would be putting him on trying to stop what GAM are doing, which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but I would much prefer them to play to Core's big strength.
Do or die for both TL or GAM. One of these teams has one last shot in another best of 3 here in Swiss. The other one goes home.
Team Liquid put out a video of Spawn talking to the team, you know, after the first game as well, and he talked about them having worked a full 10 months, this whole year, for both of these organizations. You know, does build up to this right here. Your world's life, your world's run either stops here or continues on with huge possibilities for either one. And the same is true for both these teams. So much work put in. And GAM, of course, having to deal with so many regional difficulties happening with the league.
Yeah.
And this team still being able to bounce back and fight back so heavily here versus the LCS #2 seed really speaks volumes, especially for, you know, the players that were added late onto this team this year.
One of my favorite things is always where it starts off as, you know, like, okay, getting on a planes. That's going to be the main objective. And then they have an incredible performance. And then initially it feels like everything on top would be gravy. But now you are one game away from just making it to that final round of Swiss, which in of itself is already a huge achievement.
Thank you so much, Berlin. That 10 gold is extremely important. And Kiaya able to fish that one up. It's beautiful to see.
And especially for the Vietnamese player base. I mean, Vietnam has a giant player base, hugely passionate. So always great to see them find some success on the international stage. Meanwhile, Team Liquid have a lot of expectations to live up to. And now is the time.
Well, let's see what they can actually get done here without having 2 kills by this time in the game. This is going to be a little bit more honest League of Legends. And speaking of which, no lane swaps as well, which I know certain Isaac, Ezreal, Cummings, Bentley would agree with. Not a huge fan of the lane swaps.
He was previously cursed, so let's kind of distance ourselves from that.
As Elio has taken so much damage, maybe mentioning his name's going to work out for TL, because that's first blood for CoreJJ. EasyLove not able to get too much done.
That bot lane, you can definitely count on this TL bottom lane.
Yeah, thanks,
2v2, 2v2, they pull it off.
Mention his name and all things will come through.
How far we've come. And,
yeah,
you know,
it's beautiful.
The journey along with that curse.
Curses aren't real, guys. Come on, get it together. I want to highlight how big of a deal this is, like just getting this in a 2v2 in particular. Because if you look at the other lanes, I don't think too much is supposed to happen in mid lane. Obviously, top lane, Impact is going to be pushed in. And Levi and UmTi are just doing a hooking power farm to level 6, the fastest as humanly possible. So breaking open this lane early on, getting the cooldown out of Elio, like, yeah, you trade flashes, but early gold going over to CoreJJ and Yeon. Only downside is that obviously Core got the kill, so not the best in terms of gold distribution, but still, TL off to an early lead again.
Yeah, and both junglers are, you know, typical level 6 junglers looking for full clears. So if we do see some jungler intervention, probably around a little bit of scrapping maybe towards mid lane. If top lane gets a little dicey, you saw Impact trying to push Kiaya into tower for a little bit of tower damage there. And Kiaya did have to use one of the ward charges to jump back out. As you can see, the ward's still there, but aside from anything super spicy happening, I just expect second full clears for both jungles.
Do note, Levi did go back. UmTi did not. So UmTi is just going straight into his second full clear. Levi now going to do the crab and then go into that. Whereas I mean, especially Raptors as a Nocturne, you cheat through very, very quickly.
Exactly, and you start on those Raptors, so you can get that earlier second respawn. Mid lane, though, a little bit of a visit from Levi on the Wukong, hovering around there, but because Emo was chunked out too heavily.
Oh, is he just dead? Oh, no, the blooming burst, and APA is still able to get it even after the flash.
Nice stuff there. I mean, the auto already in the air, so the flash does not save Emo. Emo down, flash down, APA finds his kill.
That's colossal, right? And Akali still has a lot of safety. I don't think this is as bad as when it is something like the Orianna that we had in previous games. But it does mean that even offensively, Emo is going to have a lot less space to play with.
And now, mid lane, a very viable place for ganks for both sides. Akali has Shroud, and Neeko does have Clone, but since APA used his flash offensively to get the kill, either of the junglers might make a small visit.
Yep, and
Levi?
level 6 is not hit just yet as Kiaya going to find the Counter-Strike onto Impact. These health bars, just a lot of biffo, not a whole lot of result here between the top laners, but Impact really wants to get this one crashed in. Going to find that Q, in fact, just goes to Narnia. And Kiaya just going to keep trimming as best he can. This wave is going to come in, though. He holds it in a pretty nice spot as Counter-Strike. Going to come down, just make Impact's day feel a little bit rough. Yeah, some all-out opportunities. Good little leap strike there to avoid the third Q. TL, still, it is 2-0. These little advantages that they've been able to pick up in the bottom lane, in the mid lane here, with just individual outplays, or duo outplays, I guess, that might happen again here as EasyLove trying to get himself out of the way. Elio not going to avoid too much of this damage as that Mystic Shot does go wide. We do get a little bit of a question mark there from Yeon. Love to see it.
And I don't think that the previous game seemingly impacted the GAM mentality too much, as they're still happy to scrap us. Hold that thought.
Honey fruit being eaten here is UmTi looking for Levi as Kiaya could be in trouble actually. Impact looking for a bit of an angle. You could see wanted to line up that all out, but didn't really feel like going under the enemy turret. So he's going to press the button.
Yeah, UmTi, a pretty smart move here where he had both solo lanes pushing, and so he just comes to wait in the brush and wait to get a little health chunk onto Levi because the grubs are up and available, and you've got the reset from CoreJJ. Smites available for both junglers here.
Yeah, both junglers want to get at least one grub for the extra experience. Try and make sure that they hit that level 6 first. That looks like it's going to be TL. That does have the prior impact. Still needs to TP back in.
APA's positioning here is so scary.
UmTi's not 6.
Yep, Elio in a lot of trouble here as the Blooming Burst hits twice. Emo now trying to move forward. Having to do some face checking is Levi, only level 5. There's the knock-up, but it's onto a clone. That's not really going to work out as a heroic charge now from Elio and APA. He's going to be taken out. Levi over the wall, trying to escape. He takes so long, but the Ignite will finish him off at the cost of CoreJJ's life. It's a trade up for GAM in this instance as UmTi was able to take one of those grubs, but they're not out of the woods just yet. Or is Kiaya the one that's in a lot of trouble? He gets feared, has the Counter-Strike, and that's going to keep them away. That is a 1-for-1 so far on the grubs, but a good trade for GAM in the kills.
Yeah, APA got juked on his ultimate there. Levi doing a very good job kind of baiting him in, and there was just the Jax with the ultimate on. Take a look at this. Here it is. Levi over the wall. So the very good job by playing around that ultimate by GAM. They avoid it, and then the slam into the wall from the Poppy here.
Kiaya also has Counter-Strike, so it takes less damage from the ultimate. Not really a suitable target. Extra tanky as well with the Grandmaster's Might. This game not being decisively swung one way or another. UmTi is now going to hit 6. Levi obviously is available as well, and both of these ultimates extremely impactful. 2 grubs for TL when all is said and done.
Yep. It was actually UmTi sneaking back and collecting that last one after all was said and done. So decently big for TL. Only need to get 1 to even things out in the next spawn, but also could grab themselves 5, which could be pretty dangerous as far as getting these side lanes in order.
The gold really is basically even, because 2 of those kills are on Core, who is Rakan.
Well, we'll see whether Core can use some of that money here as he moves back towards the bottom lane.
I'm
still trying.
Battle Rakan again?
Yeah, the Battle Rakan, man. He just, like, maybe he just builds a death cap. You never know.
Well, I think
Battle Wukong!
Yeah, well, in goes Levi. He'll find 2 with that Cyclone. The curtains have been called, and maybe they're aptly named, or maybe TL will just move themselves away. The fourth one not really going to be doing too much as True Shot Barrage is not going to connect onto Levi, but was pretty scary, so they are going to get out of there.
And GAM, as soon as they get the flash, I think they don't want to overextend into a Nocturne counter again, because that's the one thing. I think they definitely have enough damage to take down Yonder if they do chase, but you do run the risk of UmTi just ulting in. Could have been a big thing, and with just the flash, I think TL happily take this trade if they can get the Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Since you invested 2 ultimates there's no way you're fighting Dragon, so does allow Team Liquid the objective afterwards. UmTi can just slip in and hold on to the Nocturne ult. Nocturne ult, holding this actually puts a lot of pressure just by keeping the cooldown available.
Yeah.
The first Nocturne ultimate here kind of hanging over the heads of all of the laners. So...
And entrance comes down a little bit late on the steadfast presence there from Elio as these Mystic Shots will connect. Yeon is going to be Arcane shifting forward, something dangerous when you don't have a flash, but of course with Arcane Shift, not having flash on Ezreal, not as bad as some other champions, as UmTi moving around, seeing whether there was going to be a cheeky poppy underneath the turret.
And life's looking decent for Kiaya, who has been mostly left alone, able to pick up the couple of assists. Still doing good in the 1v1, but outside of that, looking a bit dire here, and might have to be another carry job here by Levi and Kiaya. And Levi, still completely even in farm, obviously. Didn't have his ultimate yet in that first fight, which is why, even with the nice clone play, we didn't see him too much of an impact. Maybe this
could be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, Counter-Strike not going to connect there. Levi gives away his position, so now Impact can play a little bit more carefully, especially with UmTi in the area, Paranoia in hand. Trying to bait this one out. Okay, looking for a little bit of a gank, but there's the Paranoia towards the river. The grand entrance is gorgeous, and this is why we liked seeing the Rakan locked in. This combo is beautiful, and CoreJJ on a killing spree.
Well, CoreJJ also kind of deserves some because he's the one who found the target there and stayed right next to him to lock him up.
He got the CC chain. He did his work, but come on, Kobe.
He's taking his price, okay? That's our team captain right there. Ideally, of course, want a little bit more gold on the damage characters, but
you still get an ultimate Hunter stack, it's fine.
I mean, yeah, Rakan getting a bit tankier in this one, maybe allow him to deal with the difficulties of playing into the Poppy and stuff like you guys kind of mentioned.
There we go.
Previously.
That's the kind of positivity that I'm looking out for. Yep. Appreciate it. Core now looking to scry out some vision here. We'll be able to do so. Impact certainly being protected a lot by his support and jungle so far this game, and you can see it has spelt an even lane state. We have seen some Ksantes really fall behind in this matchup and then just kind of not amount to very much. I think a lot of the idea of this champion in this matchup is that you get to the late game and you do more because you're a little bit more of a frontline than Jax otherwise would be. You can do those Ksante things that Showmaker spams all the time and makes people upset.
Impact also is one, and I think Ezreal mentioned it a bunch of times already as well, but he's very, very happy to play for his team, which on some champions you just can't get away with. And Ksante is one of them. Like, once you hit your 2-item core, obviously getting more items is good. We've seen Ksantes really take over games, but you already have a lot of utilities. UmTi this time going for a different build, going for the experimental X-Blade instead.
I think maybe it was just like an adaptation for the snowball with the fact that you can power farm so much more.
Well, that he's also playing into full melee this time around.
Yep.
Jhin excluded.
I like adding more of those opportunities to ult in as well. Kind of works out. That's okay. Levi looking for a little bit of a cheeky steal here. Yeah, exactly right. 2 seconds now is the Paranoia up and available. Impact moving in. That is going to be no grubs picked up for GAM, but TL going to have to start them all over again. And it looks like GAM are just going to get out of there. I don't think they want to try and fight for this one. No mid control. And APA, in fact, is really going to drill that fact home. Just gets a flash out. Doesn't invest anything on his part.
Yeah, GAM definitely can't fight. I think correct call here. Just try and get something, you know, maybe minion wave into the tower on bottom side. Emo at least is trying in that effort. TL already recognized it though, and they sent Yeon down there. So Yeon, or excuse me, APA on the Neeko, again trolled by the minimap, but able to go collect that wave pretty quickly for himself, while Yeon himself actually completes the Trinity Force here to catch up with everybody else having their first items.
This is a lot of plates for a Ksante. You don't see that a whole lot of the time, as they're just kind of moving around, trying to get that counter-strike out. They will get it. They're not going to look for any sort of dive. Not a massive amount of damage.
Look at the vision that's available here for TL. Like, Core and Impact can play that way because the entirety of that top side of the map is just completely... there we go. I can use this technology, guys.
It's
I swear.
beautiful. It's,
Completely.
I love that. Great circle.
Best circle I've actually seen all day.
Yeah.
Can you not?
I mean, it
It's
looked a
not.
little bit more like an oval, but that's fine. That's what we needed for that
So
top side
because
of
of
the map.
that, they can just push to their heart's content. Do a great
Sorry,
job
Cronicler.
and keep the pressure up, because even though this game isn't anywhere as snowbally as particularly game number 2, this is still becoming a big problem for GAM. I think that they are going to quickly reach the point where it's one big fight, and this time I do think they have the ultimates to make that work. Again, a lot of this gold lead is on this Rakan. If they're able
900 gold.
to get on,
Rakan carry potential.
if they can eat the early.
Deeks convergence power spike. Atlas, I'm with you.
Sorry, Cronicler.
I am with you.
I know, I'm feeling it. Look, it's already done. I mean, they've both got one item, but full boots? That is the difference in gold.
So
Basically.
trying to absorb the initial blow that's going to come out from TL, they're always going to be the one that want to try and play aggressive. And then on the counter engage with that Jhin can do some magical
gorgeously
things.
played there from Yeon. Getting out of the way of... I mean, that was a fight potentially happening there, Cronicler. I apologize. It's still going to be Kiaya trying to get himself away. There's a flash all out from Impact. Can he get on top of Kiaya? He's running out of buttons. A flash of his own, but this is an all out at Ksante. It has some mobility, but so does a Jax, who just leaps over the wall. That is not a lot of summoner spells left. Nicely played there on both sides.
Still should be 2 objectives for TL though. With Impact solo winning topside, they can actually get that tower while they get Dragon.
And the big thing is he also sends Kiaya back. Kiaya had TP, Impact didn't. So if Impact doesn't find that play, Kiaya TPs towards the Dragon. That might have been a fight angle for GAM. Instead, Impact trades summoners even, but even though he doesn't get the turret, they get the objective. And Mountain, either of these teams can't afford to give it up, right? Like looking at the sub, Jhin, trying to play
Jhin
Akali.
does not do damage if they get more than like 2
It's not good.
Mountain Drakes. It's just, I mean, that would be
We
so.
also haven't
that'd
talked
be
about
very
how
difficult.
they're
Nocturne coming.
Okay.
UmTi.
Yeah, remember, no flash up and available. In goes UmTi. They look for it. That is going to be the keeper's verdict, but it does absolutely nothing. And now you've got Kiaya stunned up, charmed up, and destroyed. Elio could be the next one on the chopping block, as it's the tanky members of TL that are up here, and now the damage is arriving. Elio, I think he's just dead. The fear does go off, and APA, he collects his. TL just going from strength to strength.
Oh, and not only do they take out one of the best performing members of GAM, Kiaya goes down.
Oh, okay, that's a Cyclone, but the Pop Blossom is there. Picks up 2, but he dies. Immediately afterwards, now Yeon going to get back here once again. The curtains are being called now. And GAM, they could have found a turnaround. Into the Shroud goes Emo, but he doesn't find too much more. And UmTi, he's happy to take that Shuriken. And TL will back away. They do lose APA, though.
That's a little bit of a saving grace, because as I was about to say, like, they TP'd Emo in as well. Like, they lose Kiaya, they lose the fight. If then Emo's TP is also wasted, it's really rough. So at least getting a little bit of kill, a little bit of gold, getting the kill on APA, that's something. I still don't think it's enough to bring GAM back into this game. They need more, and they're looking.
It's a bit dangerous, but the mobility of both Rakan and Ezreal means that they can afford to stand this far up. And EasyLove starting to struggle here against the Trinity Force on Yeon. We know that this 2-item spike is coming very, very soon. This Ezreal is going to be extremely scary. And I have to say, this looks like drilled gameplay in this game from TL. I think in game number 1, it was a little bit more fast and loose, but this is keeping up on the vision, making sure that they have a game plan. There's an idea in mind in every move that they make. And the idea in mind here is kill them underneath this turret. In goes UmTi, finds another Paranoia. They focus down the turret to make sure that that doesn't kill Yeon, but now Levi's here. Can they get the turnaround?
Yes,
They've taken the turret, that's all you need. But he gets in, the quickness is so good, and they just look to blow up the Wukong. They'll take him down. Yeon has the barrier, but he doesn't have his life anymore. The perfect execution is exactly that, as Emo looks to try and pull it back for his team. And now Impact and UmTi against Elio and Emo. I think that TL like those odds, and Emo's gonna have to just try and get himself out.
Emo really saving it there with his teleport, collecting those 2 kills, because it was a big play from CoreJJ to lock up Levi, but Emo equalized it. Meanwhile, you're getting mid push in exchange for bottom. Jax right now, by the way, is on that turret, so he will also finish up an outer. That one that we just saw APA take, though, mid lane secondary, worth a slight bit more than
and against
the outer.
a Nocturne comp as well, to have inner turret taken down. Let's have a look at this again.
So you can clearly see that GAM don't want to just give this up, right? And TL, I think they could have played a little bit slower, just as you're talking about restraint. They dive the turret when it's already this low. Teleport ends up being, I think, big here because it means that GAM can't quite commit to the fight, but Emo is already in the back line. So gets the flash, gets the Q, still takes down Core despite the fact you see UmTi for a second there be like, can I go? And then he realizes, oh, I don't want to mess.
We cut the video there a little bit
Yeah.
after the double kill for the Akali. I think in all of our best interest. As now the Rift Herald going to maneuver its way down this bottom lane. This outer turret still up and available here as UmTi's just playing Biffo with Levi. And I think UmTi likes those odds as the curtain call does come in. He turns off the lights to try and stop those bullets from raining in, but it's just, yeah, too little too late here for GAM. Kiaya trying to get himself out, leaps over the wall and gets the blast cone as well to safety. UmTi on this Nocturne is looking so good.
Really is. Goes into bully Levi off his own red buff, steals the buff, takes his life. Now you get to drive the Rift Herald into the tower for the extra Void Mites, but APA locked up.
Yeah, Elio actually looking for the ulti onto APA. Not a lot of follow-up there at all. Of course, EasyLove, no curtain call up and available, and Emo just can't get in there. So TL almost taking down another inner turret, and this gold is starting to really balloon.
You might look at that previous graph and be like, man, this is not that big. It's 5K. The previous game was just a bit of a statistical outlier.
Yeah. But it's also all of the neutral objectives that were layered on in the early game for TL. You know, 5 Void Grubs helps them take towers really quickly. You saw all the extra Void Mites popping out of the Rift Herald. And then the ability to stack these dragons here. They should just head over to a Mountain Drake. But UmTi right now actually making his way through the top side of the river, making sure that they don't give away any like sneak plays to GAM while they go for that dragon. Want to make sure that you have some vision around your Baron.
I don't know, I feel like so much of this game is similar to game number 1. Will come down to Levi and Kiaya what they can find in some of these team fights, but otherwise I'm just not seeing as many of the comeback mechanics for GAM in this game. TL, I feel like they have just a lot of the answers available, and that is going to be the first Mountain Drake and Mountain Soul Point going over to TL in this game. We spoke already about how the fact that Mountain Soul really can be a win more button for a lot of teams. And in this composition, certainly will work out that way for TL. I don't know how relevant it's going to be though. This game is looking really difficult anyway as Kiaya, he's got a target on his back. He was so good in game 1 and they're looking to try and shut him down once again. And there's the bullet we call UmTi diving in on top. He's fleeing while he's trying to get that counter-strike down, and it's not going to work. The auto is in the air as it was earlier on, and APA secures the kill. And now with the Jax dead, it could be Baron time for TL.
Really good from TL here. Another side lane pick. Now turning their sights to force GAM into their own hands here. It's going to have to be some face check.
Yeah, there is also multiple TP wards here. Emo just finishes his Shadow Flame. He's going to try and look to turn this around. There is a TP. Jhin trying to get as much damage as possible. Levi looking for a steal as well. They do not know about this Akali yet.
Yeah, the Shape Splitter was so good at blocking some of these bullets, but the last one does come through. Emo, can he find the angle? That's the question. Is EasyLove going to get knocked up and taken down? Elio going to be the next one. The Akali just couldn't get in time. UmTi now trying to fight him, but it is one kill going over. Yeon could be in trouble next, but the all-out, the savior that is Impact, is able to take him down, and Yeon limps away with single-digit health. TL, they win the fight, but GAM got so close.
Crucially though, GAM denies the Baron at least for now. Elio escapes with just a little bit of health, but Emo getting onto the backline there, absolutely huge, but disengaged from Core.
Yeon escapes with even less, like 15 HP or something, as Impact tried to just peel for him. Here's another look at the turn though. Core, as you mentioned, right out of the gates there, starts it out. Good turn from Team Liquid, but Emo, the Akali, the hope from GAM into the backline, and Impact ults him away. Yeon barely able to live and get that with TL coming out ahead.
And once again, I think we saw picture-in-picture that Kiaya was in a little bit of trouble as, not exactly elation here.
It's not done yet.
Pretty much a wash. You can see no difference as far as the gold is concerned. Having a look at the damage in the team fight, APA and Yeon doing their jobs absolutely. But Emo, a real hero. We're starting to see why this Akali was picked up, and he's got some ground to cover. Shroud's down. This is somewhat dangerous, but he's not going to push up any further. Yeon on CoreJJ, just going to collect the wave. That is going to be that. In the bottom lane, we do have both UmTi and APA down there. So not going to be seeing another Baron attempt just yet, as Impact possibly set up on a flank angle. And you can see UmTi, he can attack anyone that is down here.
That's the issue. If you don't know where Nocturne is, you cannot look for a side lane collapse.
I have a fun fact for you. Yeon had literally 1 HP.
Oh, he just actually won.
Actually won, going back to look.
Literally
That is
won.
why you limit test, by the way, so that you can get to your exact limit. He found it. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
I've played League with you, Atlas.
Atlas is still looking okay. He didn't say Atlas.
You're not
found it.
allowed to say anything mean to me again, Chronicler, because I'm still just, I haven't got to the 1 HP yet. It's mostly 0.
Still calculating.
Yeah, we're still calibrating.
It's the important thing. Right now, GAM, 6K, 6.5K gold behind, and once this soul comes through, that's it. They need a pick onto someone, but so many summoners are available. UmTi going in!
Yeah, they're just trying to find it. There's 2 with the Pop Blossom. It's not the most, but True Shot Barrage does so much as they dive forward. Emo trying to look for it, but once again, it's Impact that finds the angle, goes all out, and gets the Akali out of there. Now he's 1v3, and he likes those odds. The knock-up comes through. Kiaya is dead. Both of the solo lanes are down, and TL, I think they're still alive at Worlds.
They're going to stand tall. They're going to go grab their rewards here. The Baron picked up.
And GAM, you could see them looking, trying to find a mid lane fight, maybe an angle onto some of the background. But again, this Nocturne pick has been one of the breakout picks for Worlds for me. The amount of playmaking you take away once you get ahead with this pick is insane.
And it is so meaningful for Team Liquid as a whole, as a team, for UmTi to have another tool in the toolbox here for them, because he had been one of the players where people look at his champion pool and think that TL can only survive when he is on Maokai, Sejuani, Skarner, these tanks. But the Nocturne has been massive. Once again, he pulls the trigger with APA. It's the duo engage. And even though Poppy ultimate does go off, APA has already hit the ultimate before he goes flying.
Yeah, I think we want to call that a Poppy Blossom, because honestly, it worked really well for APA.
Meanwhile, Impact into the back line took care of the Akali for the rest of the team, and so TL just were able to chase forward.
Well, now a little bit more of a fight here as Kiaya is going to get pulled back by Impact. Now the curtains are being called, but the paranoia is down. Can't really see his targets, although there is a clone in there, just causing a ruckus. The rest of GAM trying to get themselves out of there. Levi is trying to be tricky, but it's just not quite working. Able to avoid that True Shot Barrage that may have just been his life, but now this is game over, right? If this goes down, it's game over.
That's the problem. GAM trying desperately to find something. They get away with their lives, but they lose something that I don't think they can afford to lose. This game was already in a dire spot, almost a 10K gold lead, but now with Mountain Soul, your one angle to come back, which is like a pick on APA when he's overextending. Yeon out of position, CoreJJ diving too deep. Like, that's just not going to happen. And I don't even want to talk about what Impact is now going to do. Look,
he's a 4-0-5.
He has
yeah,
almost
this is
300 armor.
Yeah, this is a Showmaker's worst nightmare. Ksante right now, wielded by Impact. And they're going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret. Emo does get some bounty gold, but it's just not really going to work. Bounty gold for Nex is not a trade you want to take, but there's not a whole lot more that they can do. Yeon in this mid lane is going to be able to take yet another. And TL, they are dotting I's and they are crossing T's, taking exactly what they need off this map. Levi, you can see hunting for an angle, hunting for an opportunity, but Impact just keeps pushing him back. He's a brick wall guarding Yeon, guarding APA, gets the double knock up with that Q3, and the Keeper's Verdict does come on through, but it's once again APA. He's pushed out of the fight. Pop Blossom still in hand, and now UmTi comes from behind the enemy Nexus to look to take down the opposition. Emo is just eviscerated in one swift stroke, and there's the Pop Blossom. Levi was the target, understandably so. And Elio, not a whole lot he can do. EasyLove just pushed back to the fountain, and TL will take down their second Nexus of the series and keep themselves alive at Worlds 2024.
They locked in the Nocturne again. They locked in the Neeko again. Those two that just hugged on screen, UmTi, APA, they're able to complete it here. Team Liquid lock it all down.
And GAM, still an incredible Worlds.
Yeah.
Still, I think, performance that they can be proud of. We can see it on the face of Levi, right? This is a series that felt winnable even in this final game. Unfortunately, they didn't end up making it happen.
I do have to say that game number 2, that was a stomp. Wasn't one that you felt fantastic about as either team, but this game was TL playing calculated, just better League of Legends. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for if you are a member of Team Liquid. But now it's time for us to throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much. Great cast. Straight off the plane into a cast. You guys are monsters. But anyways, it's Team Liquid that lives to fight another day. Before we get to the interview, we can immediately get to the Oppo player of the series, Ezreal. We decided to give it to CoreJJ for, I want to say impact because it sounds weird because he's also on the team, for his impact in the games that TL won. It was unbelievable. And even in the game that they lost, maybe.
Yeah, I think he really has been a